Wanted to welcome everybody to our CS224G demo day. So I'm Jan. This is John. We've had great help from our TAs this quarter. Lucy's here, and Elias and Gautam. There's Gautam. Okay. And very excited to have you all come and present and watch the presentations. This is kind of a lightning round deal, so 3 minutes per presentation. It's fast-paced. The idea is to get you interested enough to go and take a look at the posters to get a more detailed look at what our teams have been doing. So maybe we wanted to tell you a little bit about the course and what we accomplished this quarter with the students' help. So the goal of this class is a little bit different from a typical CS class. We've got students to pitch ideas, like every student could pitch, form teams, so the pitches that had the most interest had people come and join them, run 4 sprints, just like typical engineering sprints in a startup, present updates after each sprint, and then do this demo day at the end. So that's all squeezed into 10 weeks. So kind of a high pressure thing, high stakes thing, but it went great. And the goal is to basically create a learning experience around the passion project, something that you care about. So it's not an assigned project, it's something that you chose or you joined, you really care about it. And then some of the stats about this are pretty amazing. So we had over 140 signups coming from our wait list.
Yeah, no, I think it was. I think the demand was even higher. I mean, we cut off. We opened the enrollment. We capped it at 70 people, and then, or I think it was 90 people actually, and then we and that filled up super quickly, and then so we added a wait list of another 50, and that one completely filled up within very quickly as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so what that means is that, the people who are left here are dedicated and they're all the best, of course. And some amazing things came out of that. There were 40 project pitches, and those 40 project pitches ended up turning into 20 projects and student teams. So again, there was some attrition. The most popular ones survived. And got some really dedicated students working on them. Thanks to our partners, we were able to offer credits to use both open source and commercial models, and the students really took advantage of that opportunity. It was amazing. Some of the topics covered were things like prompt engineering, RAG, fine-tuning, guardrails. I mean, we really tried to cover all of the different things that you might want to do if you're building a real world project in this space.
Yeah, and that was really the point of the class, is that, I mean, as you guys know, LLMs are huge, huge right now, and there's a lot of things that are happening, and a lot of exciting things, and so it's really fun for us as as instructors and the staff to be like teaching the revolution as it's happening, right? And so we did some of the lectures, but some of our best lectures were actually luminaries from industry who came in and then talked about the real practical aspects of building applications and projects using large language models. So it was definitely a lot of fun, and I think that you guys will be very impressed with some of the projects that you're going to see. I mean, we certainly were. I mean, just like I'm fairly certain, like a lot of the teams, they spent more than their allotted hours, on some of these projects. I mean, clearly there's a lot of work that went into them, and they all did like a really fantastic job. And I think that will show, like, as you see their presentations. And I do hope that we want to try to keep the presentations as short as possible and the preamble as short as possible, so you guys can get a chance to go and meet with each of the teams. I think many of them have demos or live demos you'll be able to see, and then and get a chance to meet and talk with them, because they're all amazing.
Yep.
So
okay, well, let's jump right in. So our first team is EA.AI. And
yeah, all right. And
Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie, and I am introducing EA.AI. So we built EA.AI in the scope of CS224G, which is a fantastic class, but also a very painful experience. And the reason why it was a painful experience is because coordinating meetings is annoying and time consuming, especially among a group of 5 extremely committed to other things Stanford students who are very busy. So how did we address this issue of coordinating meetings that is annoying and time consuming? Well, we're introducing EA.AI.
Introducing EA.AI, your virtual assistant for scheduling, currently available on Slack and email. With just a simple app mention in a channel, transform any conversation into a scheduled event. And here's the result: a finalized event seamlessly synced with your calendar. But what if your plans change? You can ask your virtual assistant to reschedule or cancel the event all within the same team.
It sent to me API request, which is why we got flagged for
And just like that, the event is canceled. No hassle, no confusion, just your schedule updated in real time. We also brought EA.AI email. By copying and forwarding your email to EA.AI, our product will look through your email thread, intelligently parse your conversation, and create a calendar invite. You can reschedule and update the event anytime, and even have your virtual assistant track the agendas for the meeting. No fuss, no back and forth. For teams who demand efficiency and are looking for a big improvement in workplace collaboration, EA.AI is your answer. Introducing EA.AI, your virtual assistant.
Awesome. We had the opportunity to launch EA.AI within the scope of Stanford this past week. So we've had 5 student clubs use EA.AI for Slack, over 25 users on EA.AI for our email modality, and 92% of these users said that EA.AI was able to complete the task that they intended. So who we are is a group of across different industries, innovators, developers, but most importantly, we're just normal working students and professionals who are annoyed at the current level of workplace collaboration and efficiency. So if you are interested in the next big improvement for workplace collaboration, come visit us at EA.AI, your virtual assistant for scheduling. Thank you.
Cool. So then the next team we have coming up is
Oh, that's me.
MindStorm.
Imagine you're a struggling college student juggling classes, jobs, and social life. Well, I guess most of us in this room don't have to imagine. It's not uncommon to feel overwhelmed and anxious and unsure of who to turn to for help. Traditional therapy can be very inaccessible. It can feel expensive, inconvenient, and intimidating. As for alternatives, we often seek out personalized support, not just a general advice or a generic app. But the current options we have leave many feeling lost. We may be too busy to see a therapist weekly or just don't have the budget. We often just hang on until the wave has passed. That's what many of us have been doing for years, after all. This isn't just about my or your story. Millions experience the same struggles. Mental health concerns are prevalent, with anxiety disorders being among 264 million people worldwide. Yet, accessing effective care remains a challenge. Even with the advent of telehealth solutions, spurred on by the pandemic, cost, lack of on-demand support, and social stigma still create barriers. We can't just replace human-patient relationships, but an app isn't just the next best option. Sometimes it's actually the best option. Many of us struggle silently, and those who need help the most often avoid seeking it out, as reaching out for help can be a huge mental hurdle. Some people may find it more comforting to talk to an anonymous therapist rather than a real person. MindStorm is here to break free from the limitations of traditional therapy. We're an accessible on-the-go app that empowers you to navigate your mental struggles whenever you need. Unlike generic apps with a one-size-fits-all therapist, MindStorm evolves with you. providing personalized and goal-specific well-being companions that adapt to your needs and offer ongoing guidance and a safe space to work through your struggles. But what actually makes MindStorm different? What's stopping any off-the-shelf LLM from becoming your therapist? First, we're building a tool specifically for mental well-being in mind. With increased domain knowledge comes higher quality support. We also introduced the concept of adaptive memory, relying on dynamic prompt engineering based on changing user context, short-term memory from weekly insights, and long-term memory from RAG. This enables your companions to learn and adapt from you, personalized to remember your struggles, preferences, and past experiences. After all, you wouldn't want to reintroduce yourself to your therapist every day. We currently offer 3 different solutions focused on stress and anxiety management, productivity boosting, and managing your weekly reflections. Now, the road to mental well-being doesn't just stop at on-demand support. It requires continuous reflection on your emotional and behavioral journey. Through weekly and monthly insights, we help you to analyze mood and semantic changes over time, helping you identify patterns and personalize your self-care approach. Weekly analysis turns journaling into an active path to well-being, and with updated weekly context, your virtual companions become time-aware, checking up on your recent struggles. We're MindStorm, aiming to reduce the barrier to accessible well-being coaching. We've recently begun collaboration with Stanford Brainstorm psychiatrists to take our app to the next level and integrate therapy-backed research. Our cross-functional team involves knowledge of AI and mental health, which allows us to create a unique, tailored solution. Stop by our poster to chat more.
All right, our next team is AcquiSolar, with Magnus presenting.
Okay, I've been working with the great Jürgen, Leon, and Zara. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been working with the great Leon, Zara, and Jürgen on a due diligence platform for renewable energy projects. Imagine you're a renewables developer, a company that gets permits for and builds renewable energy projects. A lot of your business is actually acquiring sort of half-baked projects and then getting the rest of the permits and building it. You're the buyer. But in this acquisition process, when you're screening the project, whether you want to buy it or not, there's nothing physical to look at. I mean, there's a plot of land, but then there's a ton of documents, and the documents determine how good this project is. There are, in fact, so many documents that an independent engineer we spoke to says he spends half his time managing documents. And a state director for a developer complains about how it's just a data dump. You get a bunch of files, file names may not match. You need to go into each individual file to figure out what it is. It's hard to know which is the most recent file. And they have no tools to help them in this process. So we wanted to build the first step of an M&A suite, helping them manage this process. This is our functionality, but I'll just go straight to the demo. You can come see our demo at our sponsor. Thank you.
Next up.
All right, next up,
Human AI interaction is the next team up.
But
just share,
Yeah.
just share your.
okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
join the Zoom.
just go ahead and.
Then, yeah, and then just do screen share on the Zoom.
I think did it reset?
Let's see.
Bingo.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm here to talk a little bit about our LLM assistant. I've been working on this with Mingjian and we're excited to share a bit about it. Yeah, so to speak first to the need, we all know about the ubiquity of AI. The graphs we've been seeing lately for adoption in OpenAI and other tools are truly shocking. And it's happening so quickly, but while so many have already entered this conversation, many are yet to join. And we also think that in this space, what you don't know does hurt you, and that there's a lot more to gain from using these tools effectively. In much of this class, we've learned about how to use them better, and I think we've all seen that a little sophistication gives you a much greater output. So we sought out to make sure that we're not leaving anyone behind. So a bit of the problem as it stands, it takes a while to learn this stuff, and also the guides are fairly complicated. We think that there's a need here for personalization. The way that we all communicate differs a lot, and you don't need feedback that you use by default, you know? So how can we cut out some of the noise and make sure that people are getting the advice they need to improve their utilization of these tools? So that brings us to our solution. We have real-time assistance. So when you're engaging with an LLM chatbot, there's autocomplete and there's also rewriting as a form of optimizing the way that you're engaging. But on the education point, we have a learning mechanism. So you can get feedback on your prompt over time. You can get feedback on the specific prompt and also an analysis of your historical usage and how you can change your behavior and your patterns of interaction to improve. And lastly, we see all of this as a way to empower users to really minimize the level of expertise and effort required to use these well. So cutting to our demo, you can see a user typing in a fairly nondescript prompt, and then also the autocomplete gives them something that is like a little more specific and using the best practices that it's trained on. So you can watch that happen. And then as you can see down below, you also have the options for feedback and sort of a historical analysis of your engagement, which we see as a fun educational tool. So all this is happening. We're also happy to show you outside. And then one more example, this is a series of prompts that the user had input that were fairly vague, and so it gives more tailored feedback. But it really is specific to the individual and how they've been engaging with a chatbot that it'll identify the patterns there and surface those for improvement. But yeah, thank you. We've learned so much and we'd love to talk to you outside if you stick around.
So next team is Revelio. Jack presenting.
Right.
Testing. So I spent about 5 years in the intelligence community, and a lot of what the IC does is shrouded in mystery. But what's not shrouded are the decisions that are made that particularly make the news. And it's because these decisions are costly, both in time, money, and human capital. And so it turns out that in order for these decisions to be made, these senior leaders have to, they have a funnel that gives them the right information. And thankfully that there's this like very thorough process in the Intel community for researching, writing, and collaborating on these intelligence reports. Unfortunately, there's no structured way to do that for unclassified information. Yeah, so that's pretty much the problem that we're going to tackle. More of it will become clear as we go through the slides. So this is my claim. As more information becomes available, more and more of what's interesting to the DoD and the IC ends up being what you can find on the internet. Still, the stuff you can find through clandestine operations is important, but we have a lot of data, and more of it is important in the open domain. So it's like what really is the difference between what the National Reconnaissance Agency and what Google Maps can offer? Or like if you had access to someone's Apple Health records, you could know a lot about them. So I'm just gonna play this 28-second clip. That's a second. All right, so what the heck did you just see? So that was Revelio drafting a report. On the bottom left, there was a series of sources. So the first three, database, targeted search, and Ask Revi, enables the analyst to do research. We have a database of scraped information. We're still scraping information, and we've organized the information such that you can look it up by source. Because sometimes you want to know what a particular YouTube channel might say about X, but sometimes you might just wonder, I wonder what Reddit says about Y. And so there's all these like granular levels of filtering that you can do when you're researching. But if there's something that's not in our database, you could do a one-time targeted search. And so for database and targeted search, if you find something interesting, what we call articles, but really it could be an article, it could be a YouTube transcript, it could be a Reddit thread, you could save it in your working memory in the bottom left corner. And then Ask Revi is just it's a chatbot trained retrieval augmented generation on our given information. And then draft report, you can give it a prompt, and then using the sources that you've identified, will draft a report for you. So very serendipitously, about a week ago, ODNI, Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and the CIA, they knew that we were presenting today. So they released an OSINT strategy aiming to modernize and professionalize OSINT collection in the IC. We've printed out a couple of copies if you want to come stop by our poster later. What this tells me though is that they're starting to take it seriously. If they get to a point where they're writing a strategy, it's pretty serious. And then this is nothing new to most of us in this room. just want to point out, I learned that zettabytes are 1 zettabyte is 1,000 or is 1 trillion gigabytes. So as more information comes on the scene, the proportion of it that's open source just becomes increasingly bigger. I don't really have much to say on this slide other than it's a huge budget. And it's a $5 billion OSINT market from our research, but I think that's quite underplayed. So this is some competition analysis that we did, being very kind to ourselves. Palantir has Foundry and Gotham. Gotham is like the classified version that I've used, and it's an incredibly powerful data integration and analysis platform. But when I used it is when I started to think about all of the ways in which I thought it could be better. Recorded Future and Cyber Sentinel are both cybersecurity companies that do threat intelligence. But again, they're optimized for research, not particularly for writing reports on what you find. And then Babel Street I included, it's a social media aggregation platform that does, that stores a lot of information well, but it's multilingual, so that was pretty cool. This is our team. I'm so incredibly grateful for my team. Lawrence Liu, people say you want a 10x engineer, like he's a 100x engineer. Akshay just knows data very well. He can whip up scripts in his sleep. And Ola, I don't know if you guys have seen Silicon Valley, but there's this episode where Pied Piper is trying to hire a woman engineer, and she ends up, making this whole architecture overnight. Like Ola reminds me of her. And then that's me. These are some of our goals moving forward. We think we have a pretty solid MVP, so we want to start running informal tests with my friends and formal pilot tests with people I still keep in touch with in the military. Expand our database coverage, improve sentiment analysis, and eventually get it to scale. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next group is PetTrain.
Train.
Beicheng.
Is it disconnected actually?
Oh yeah, it's on wireless.
Oh, fine.
So
okay.
yeah,
Just share screen.
need to please.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
One's for the in-room and one is for
Cool. Does it work? Okay, cool. Hi guys, my name's Beicheng. I'm here to present to you our project on AI-enabled pet training. So background, what is pet training? Pet is a large class of animals. And the main takeaway here is that the global pet care market is huge, a few hundred billions. And training is actually also a larger set than what you think. So for example, safety trainings, including teaching commands like stay, stop, and also it's for bonding, for socialization, and most importantly, to improve quality of life. And the global pet training service market is also huge, not including ad hoc services yet, because those ad hoc services are not publicly available and hard to price. For example, a few years ago, there was this documentary on this smart border collie called Chaser that understood more than 1,000 words after 3 years of very intense training by Prof. Billy. So I also want such a dog. And apparently I don't have 3 years to spend. If you do a back of envelope calculation for the market implied by these kind of ad hoc services, using a very hand-wavy estimate, if you convert 3 years to 1 million, assuming average software engineer salary, $100 million in the US, then it's 100 trillion, 50 times NVIDIA. But of course, that's too ridiculous, right? That's an upper bound. So the lower bound, which is more conservative, assuming 1K, $1K per dog for just 10% of all the dogs, it's still a $10 billion market. So, overall, in short, it's a huge market, a lot of opportunities. And what's the biggest pain? The biggest pain, in my opinion, is that training is too labor intensive. So look at these words. These are the main pillars for a good dog training extracted from the ChatGPT. And all of these words, actually, they look like bad words to me because they look like this is something that should have been replaced by machine like centuries ago. And another problem is that pets can be very destructive during the training process. So for everyone who trains the dog, usually before it gets well trained, you should stay home all the time to prevent the following behaviors, such as chewing, scratching, digging, howling, and also separation anxiety, which would exacerbate all above. So our solution is simple. It's just artificial intelligence plus Internet of Things. So artificial intelligence is basically some model like ChatGPT, which is basically replacing human in this loop. And IoT basically provides you with a set of peripheral devices, such as camera, button, speaker. They're basically input and output from the dog. So dog will interact, of course. When the camera, for example, records a bad behavior, it will report to the AI. And if the dog presses a button, it will also send a signal to the AI. And then AI will respond accordingly, either through a speaker saying something in your voice, or by controlling the smart food dispenser or something like that. So there are many ways. So for a demonstration, to give you a quick idea of a concrete setup, this is some user's house. And there's this exercise arena setup where there is a computer running the model and a camera watching the dogs and 5 puppies in this case. So for demonstration purpose, let's actually use an older dog. So our old friend Duke. So this is okay. This is the scenario where maybe I should mute one of them so that I can play the sound. Should I mute this one?
Oh, I just mute your one.
Oh, okay. So everyone already saw that. So are they muted? It's already muted. Oh, I see. Turn off the speaker. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's an old example. So I brought something new this time. So for destruction intervention, right? This is what happens in another scenario, a different dog, a different setup. So the owner has to leave the house for a while because he has a TA session to attend. And this is what happens. So after a while, the dog breaks free. And imagine this exercise pen is not there, right? Bookshelves are broken, desktops are broken. Okay, so the dogs escaped. I'm free. Okay, so when the owner of the house, so when the dog disappeared, reappeared a few times, when the owner got home, right? This is what he found out. Okay, toppled a shoe rack, and broken window blinds, curtain blinds. Okay, so a tiny change. A tiny intervention will change everything. So this is another scenario where the same thing, the same setup, the owner is gone, but this time a computer is watching the dog. No. Okay, so basically the computer is playing the voice of the owner, just that tiny change. The dog settled. Okay, so problem solved in this case. Great, so with that demonstration, I guess let's now move on to the bigger picture. So why we'll succeed? So number one, it's a niche market. Unlike, no offense to our classmates working on code assistance, but unlike some of the other applications where big tech giants like Google or Microsoft, OpenAI, they might enter, this is a market that I'm pretty sure no one else will enter. And for example, as evident by the fact that in this classroom, no one else is interested in joining the project, right? So yeah. And that also means the moat will be wide because it's pretty tedious. You need to deal with the hardware dogs. You need to get connections to all the shelters and breeders. And number three is also low stake. So it's sort of the low stake version of kids education. Like kids education, if you teach the kids wrong stuff, there will be a backlash. It's bad. But if you teach the dogs, some mistakes, it's fine. Yeah. So it's much more benign. And some potential competitors include, to my best guess, Figure, which was launched yesterday. So the OpenAI embodied AI, and IB, which is like a pet AI. So these are basically trying to make AI, make a machine more human or animal-like. And I'm not saying they're doomed to fail, but there is some intrinsic advantage we have because it's quite not only technical challenging, but also ethically challenging for these machines to have emotional capacity. If your robot feels pain or whatever, it's scary. But it's much easier for our pets, right, to catch up on their intelligence capacity. So basically, these are some of our advantages on the high level. So with that, thank you, and feel free to come to our poster for more chats.
Thank you. So
Next team is Mentore. We're gonna try and keep this moving, guys. Yep. All right, share screen. And here, let me see it.
Hi, everyone. So we built Mentore, an AI-powered mentor matching tool. So for some background and motivation, mentorship is like really important in both like professional development, career development, things like that. A lot of us feel really lost and, you know, like as students, we have all of these responsibilities, feel super overwhelmed, don't know what to prioritize, don't know where to go with our careers, things like that. And having like faculty or someone who's been in your shoes before to help guide your experience can be really, really like helpful. And that's what we've noticed in our personal experiences. And so the problem statement is that existing platforms like Stanford Alumni Mentoring, Stanford Profiles, et cetera, are pretty ineffective and time consuming, where even if you do reach out through such a platform, it's unlikely that you'll like be able to craft a good lead, things like that. And other professional development platforms like LinkedIn and Handshake kind of feel transactional and like are filled with a lot of spam. Like I'm tired of seeing LinkedIn spam. And so, yeah. It's incredibly difficult to find high quality, suitable, and personalized mentors. And that's like the problem we wish to tackle by building kind of like a mentor search engine / chatbot that can help you like make these leads and like introduce yourself to these people who can help you. So here are the Stanford platforms that we looked at as our competitors. Stanford Profiles is just a list of the faculty. And then Stanford Alumni Mentoring is unusable. So so now moving on to some of the professional development platforms, like LinkedIn, their purpose isn't to actually build particularly like intimate connections. Their purpose is kind of to build like, I don't know, like a following kind of like as a regular social network. And that's not particularly what we were trying to build. And so we built like an MVP of Mentore, which is like kind of like a search engine that turns into a chatbot that matches you to a particular mentor. And then you can talk about that particular mentor because we have like data on them. And then it'll help you craft a lead to contact them and start a conversation. So here's our front end. This is like the sign up page. Like if someone wants to sign up to be a mentor, we have like a backend database that's connected to it. That's the chatbot. You'll see it in the demo. And so this is like the UI. So we built a scraper that gathers about over 7,500 mentor profiles, like with name, title, department, stuff like that from Stanford Profiles, as well as other like online sources. We integrated OpenAI's GPT-4 Turbo to do the chatbot stuff. And then we used the embeddings to find the best match. We used OpenAI embeddings to find the best matches using cosine similarity. Here's some of the system design. We spent a lot of our time like building the backend. We built the whole thing from scratch to kind of learn how like the process works. And that was like kind of our goal. And then for the demo. So basically this is like our UI. You can go in, this is the sign up page. You can try to sign in. Actually, this might be too long. Yada, yada, yada. That's the bio. Oh, I don't know what just happened. This is the search page. So like you can like click one of the buttons. The buttons will like create an automatically like scripted way to query the database and find like your match. And then so the chatbot functionality. Yeah, so the research specialty I want my mentor to specialize is in this. You can feed it your resume, you can feed it your information, and it'll find the best match for you. And you can just talk to the little bot. And so yeah, and it'll tell you more about the person to help you like generate leads and stuff. As future steps, we just want to support like some text functionality. We want to integrate the LinkedIn API so we can find everyone on LinkedIn as well because everyone uses it. We want to fine tune our own model to have better results, and we want to handle like better concurrency to speed up the model. Also, this is my amazing team that helped me build this. Great guys. Dan's wonderful. Andrew's wonderful. Aaron's wonderful. So yeah, thank you.
Next group is Pi Assistant.
Hi everyone. So today we're introducing Pylot, which is a Python assistant that is specialized in all kinds of Python coding tasks. So why we're building Pylot to solve Python coding questions? One reason is that Python is most widely used language nowadays, and it can be applied to different scenarios from data analysis to machine learning and up to software development. And as all of you may have experienced, and it can get difficult sometimes to read through others' code or to look up some code syntax usage from different packages. And that is when we all want an intelligent assistant that can come to help and specialized in Python coding tasks.
This is why we introduced Pylot, which is your ultimate Python coding companion, which can help you to get started with basic Python coding and then help you to provide some guidance on Python related tasks, especially on code translation, summarization, and generation. So now I'm going to introduce a journey of Joe, who is a beginner of a Python, beginner of using Python, and he's a high schooler right now. And he is using Pylot, which is, he asked Pylot, hey, I'm new to Python. Can you introduce me some Python tutorial? And then, well, Pylot says, welcome to Python. And he says, well, what are the variables and what are the data types, such like that. And then Joe learns along the way. And 4 years later, he became a data science intern at JP Morgan. And his first task in his project is to retrieve some information, to query some information from the database. However, he doesn't know about anything about SQL, which he is going to use. So that's why he asked Pylot. Says, hey, I know Python. I have write out the query, and can you help me to translate to SQL? And then, well, here, Pylot does that for him.
So as we all can see, I give some code that Joe can use to retrieve the financial data from the company's database. And next, his manager actually gave him a task to build a machine learning model that can predict the sales for next month based on the past sales data. And then that is when Joe can talk to Pylot to say, hey, can you give me some PyTorch code that can build a prediction model based on past data? And boom, and Pylot just answered the framework that Joe can use to actually write out this neural network model. And it's very clear and functional. And along the way, Joe became very successful as an intern. And finally, his manager is very satisfied and assigns him to a LLM project, which requires him to use a LangChain to build a LLM application. But Joe doesn't know anything about LangChain. It is a LLM framework that's very specialized. So that is when Joe can use Pylot to introduce him to LangChain. So here we can see that Joe uploads some files, which is some tutorials from LangChain, and then Pylot can answer any questions Joe has regarding LangChain. For example, you can ask, can you tell me how to build a prompt using the given code? And Pylot can accurately answer the questions, and also along with some relevant information retrieved from the context provided. And moreover, Joe can also ask some follow-up questions, such as can you actually generate the code based on the previous questions? So here we can see that actually, it is able to write the code and provided the context for it. And we also implemented a feedback system where Joe can actually rate on the response that Pylot returns. Yeah. And password. Also, this is the code written by Pylot regarding the use of LangChain. And finally, Joe can submit if he is satisfied with this response. And we can actually track the performance of Pylot through an external link. We're able to see all the historical call and whether the users are satisfied or not with the feedback. This is Pylot, and with the help of Pylot, Joe actually gained a very successful career at JP Morgan and finally got his return offer as a data scientist. Yeah, and I hope that really helps everyone.
So please use Pylot
So
as your ultimate Python companion. Thank you.
Thank you.
This mic. All right, hi everyone, we're Catapult. And the core of the problem we're trying to solve is that calls are time consuming and expensive. Looking specifically at the caregiver recruiting marketplace. This is something where information is spread out. There's no real centralized recruiting process, no standardized processes. And generally everything is heavily dependent on calls and live interaction. And this is something that's really hard for a lot of caregiving services to manage. And this is a growing space. The home and health personal care labor market is expected to grow 22% in just the next 10 years, in a time when the average growth of an occupation is only 3%. And this is an issue that can be extended to many other markets in industrial and service, where these same hiring processes need to take place. So this is a growing problem that's going to affect tens of millions of people every year. So let's say you run a caregiving service and you urgently need to hire some caregivers. And for your job posting, you receive dozens of applications. In order to ensure the quality of your service, you're going to require reference checks for all these candidates. And many of that requires phone calling. So to do this, you can either manually call all of those references yourself, which is inefficient and takes a lot of time, or you can hire a call center to do the calls for you and generate a report. Now, this can also be expensive, and it's sometimes hard to control those communication channels. So this is something that's difficult to do well, and it's difficult to scale. And this is where Catapult comes in. We are developing voice AI to streamline caregiver recruiting. We're building a product that allows caregiving services and staffing agencies to input candidate information and reference information, and then we take care of the rest, conducting automated reference checking calls, harnessing the power of language models and state-of-the-art text-to-speech. We can generate these call summaries and also allow these caregiving services to track the status of their candidates and those calls, essentially solving this problem with an automated system. The nice thing about our product is that there is room to grow. But by solving reference checking first and building this call infrastructure out, we can then expand this service to broader recruiting tasks across multiple markets. So the advantage that we have over existing services. Well, as we mentioned earlier, one of the key components is that it needs to be voice enabled because many of these recruiting processes are heavily dependent on phone calls. This is something that existing automated applicant tracking systems just don't have, like Paradox.ai. Now, if you want to use voice-enabled services like in-house calling or outsourced call centers, neither of those are as effective because either they're not scalable and extremely difficult to manage and waste a lot of your hours, or it's difficult to manage the communication between the outsourced call centers, and it's something that's hard to organize, especially if you're trying to run a bunch of things and handle a bunch of applicants. And so that's something that Catapult.ai can solve and provide this service. So in terms of traction, we have a partnership with Oxbow Health to distribute our product to the around 30 or so staffing agencies that they service. And in fact, we've confirmed this need for our product even before we built our product. Part of the design for our product actually came from some of those needs being communicated to us earlier this quarter. And so why are we the best team to solve this problem? We're a group of 4 master's students all studying AI with a wide range of expertise from product to software to healthcare and AI. And we have experience working at startups and big tech companies, which leaves us uniquely positioned to solve this problem. For the sake of time, I don't have a demo, but please feel free to check us out outside Catapult.ai demo. Thank you.
Team SemVis.
We can just skip the next.
Do you have the, okay, okay, we'll skip it. We'll skip that, yeah.
So, DiligenceDynamics, would you guys come up front?
Yep.
We're gonna switch order, just.
Yeah, so we can join the Zoom.
Doing it startup style.
All right.
Hi, so we are Team DiligenceDynamics, and we are building a product that solves inefficiencies in finance with AI. So the core problem that we came to realize is that in finance, a lot of analysts have to go through a lot of grunt work, which involves just parsing through a lot of data and trying to understand what the data actually represents. This is a very inefficient and time-consuming process. For example, for any given company, an analyst could be looking at their SEC filings, their transcripts, presentations, maybe some research from research providers, brokers, industry conferences, and also some analysts have like private data as well. And so there's many solutions already out there that try to solve this problem. For example, like Paul says, there's a All Hub that tries to aggregate all of this data onto one platform, and it'll help you easily access this. However, the main issue with this is that there's a lot of misrepresentation of what data actually means. There's a lot of lack of context. And obviously, it's quite expensive. But also says generating $100 million plus in revenue in 2022 is a huge market for this. So we asked ourselves, is there a better solution to this, where we can provide contextualized data, fast access, company-specific, and faster and cheaper? We introduced our solution, DiligenceDynamics, a solution using multimodal LLMs and AI. To quickly go over what we've implemented so far, here are some of our current features. So we started off with managing our documents page, where you can upload any documents. We have a base set of documents that we already uploaded for a specific company, but you can add additional documents as well. And we'll make sure that we keep your data private to yourself, so you can technically upload any proprietary data that you want. And this data will then be used for symptom analysis, Q&A, and making investment reports. Building off of that, we then have company-specific search, where you look for any company, will give you some basic information, the current stock price, etc. And right underneath that is our core of our platform, which is a chatbot Q&A, where you can ask any question to the company and get any information from the documents that you've uploaded, from our documents that we provide as well. And all of this, I guess, all the responses are cited and stored as well. Next, we have a company sentiment analysis model. Basically, what this does is that we scrape a lot of news articles and Reddit posts. We try to understand what people are saying and thinking about this company. And we generate a graph that kind of like shows the distribution of what people have said and what the overall sentiment for the company is. And finally, we have our investment report copilot. So let's say after all the QA process, after trying to understand the company, you want to generate an investment thesis. We'll be able to take your investment thesis and basically use all the data that you can put into our platform and basically try to represent an investment report format and help substantiate your investment thesis. Further, you can download and manage any of the reports that we generated. So going back to the original problem, our multimodal LLM pipeline does indeed have quick access to all these accurate and contextualized data, and we make sure that data is company-specific, source inside it, and also it's private to you. And here's our current team. We have a team of 5 people: Colin, Justin, myself, Jacob, and also Krish. And if you guys want to learn more about what we've done, feel free to visit us.
All right, SemVis.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Chaitanya from Team Semantic Vision with Noel. We all take photos and then later search through them. Gallery apps like Google Photos is really good with object queries. If I search for sunset photo, it will give the sunset photo. But when you try to do something more complex, Google Photos doesn't work. Even though that photo was there, the ranking couldn't show that thumbs up image. And even slightly more complex queries, it just doesn't show anything. So I search for any of these queries, Google Photos doesn't show anything. And if I want to search by image, let's say I was watching Inception movie and I thought, okay, I have seen this somewhere. I think it might be in my photo album, but there is no way to search through my photo album using an image. So inspired by that, we developed a gallery app powered by LLM, which can do this kind of complex semantic search using that. So I'll just dive through our demo. Yeah, so this is our web app. So, yeah. So these are like all the images uploaded, and you can upload like entire images, multiple images, videos, and then later you can search by them. So let's say if I want to search a photo of a car taken at low angle, maybe, then it's powered by like we use vector search through filter out some candidate images and then use LLM to find the exact query. So there were many images with the car, but that has a lower angle. Or maybe I want to get my selfie with a wax statue of Ronald Reagan, maybe. Yeah. So these kind of complex compositional queries, we can filter through LLM. You can also search by video. Let's say time lapse of sunset. There are many hard negatives like sunset images, but the first video itself is a time lapse of that sunset. Yeah. Now visiting our example, I wanted to find if I have seen that image from movie Inception. So I can upload that image and search through it. So what it does is it basically generates a semantic meaning of the image and then search through some of the candidates. So yeah, this is the image taken by me, which is from the same place as the photo. And you can search through video also. This is orthogonal to any kind of vector search implemented in traditional search pipeline. So you can employ image metadata and everything, and it will get even more and more understanding of your entire timeline of your photo album. And yeah, if you want to see more queries, just visit our poster. We have a live demo available. Thank you.
Next, iEarn.
Oh yeah. You can stop the share and then so we can share the next one. I just share my screen. Share screen. Oh, thanks.
So hi everyone, we are presenting iEarn, get paid to casually learn any topic that is fun or useful. So we are a diverse team with proven expertise in viral content creation, ML software engineering, and human-centered product design. And our expertise are perfect fit to make casual learning a scalable, fun, and compensatable experience. So the topics that we're dealing with is casual learning, which could range from learning and reading trivias, like, how to pick best coffee beans. But things like this has a problem. So the contents themselves are unstructured, non-personalized, and a lot of them are just too lengthy for a casual intake. So we therefore introduces iEarn, which is the product that offers bite-sized multimedia gamified casual learning with a compensation for asking valuable questions. So you can think about it as when Pinterest meets Wikipedia and Quora. Now, here are some of our initial tractions, both quantitatively and qualitatively over the past three weeks. But how does this app actually work? So I think it would be nice if I can give you a real user's story. So Sam, yeah, Sam is our real beta testing user. So Sam really likes music. Now, our app learned that fact through initial surveying and also spying and recording his user behavior on our platform. So every time that he opens up our Discover page, the Discover page will send him through the recommended music learning type of cards. Now Sam opens up this music learning card, this one. He opens up this music learning card and he finds that there are sources for music learning cards, so it is really trustworthy. However, if a card itself is not enough to satisfy your interest, you can simply expand this entire card into a full mini course by clicking this disembark button. And Sam did exactly just that. And this course is equipped to, is gamified and is equipped with a mini quiz. So you can own EXP, level up, and even learn a title of music therapy guru by completing this course. And that's how you casually explore your curiosities. But other than that, if you have a specific to-do or a goal that you want to achieve, say Sam previously wanted to buy a car. And in order to do that, just go to our search page, input your goal, and this app will generate a sequence of cards forming a digital user manual for you. And by completing all of those cards, which are basically prerequisites of how to buy a car, Sam was able to buy his car, which is a Honda Civic. Yeah. So lastly, I want to quickly mention that all the generated contents are actually cached into our system. So if the similar questions are asked and the contents are reusable, the app itself is smart enough to reuse it. So this will save costs, and that saving will be used to compensate Sam for generating that content on the first time. And this will also foster, building community through shared interest. Now, with all these, iEarn has dominated advantage over its alternatives in terms of engagements and accessibilities. Now, generating one card is crazily cheap. It costs about 0.1 cent. So not even mentioning about reusabilities. So we are doing a freemium with higher tiers of subscriptions. Business can also inject ads as native mini courses into our platform through text bidding. And that is quite similar to what Google is doing. And finally, we want to mention that the mobile e-learning market is a quick, fast-growing and large market. And iEarn will certainly be benefited from the fast growth due to its mobile learning, its mobile-first learning design. And thank you. If you're interested, please find us outside for demo, both live and video. Thanks.
So GPTeach is next.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Markel, and I'm excited to be introducing to you GPTeach, where we're revolutionizing teacher training through AI-driven simulations. So, as many of us may have experienced in the world of education, there are many pressing issues, not just one, not just two, many. To name some, there are issues such as maintaining student engagement, trying to prevent burnout, other issues such as creating curricula, drafting assessments, or other issues completely different like mental health concerns and trying to maintain diversity, inclusion, and equity. The responsibility of solving all these problems falls at the end of the day on individual instructors, right? There might be some larger structures that are in place to try to help this, but at the end of the day, it's the instructor who has to solve all these issues. And often they're not well prepared to meet the myriad of challenges that they will inevitably have to meet. And it's not their fault, there's just too many things. To address this, there are various types of teacher trainings, right? Some pre-existing teacher training methods include online webinars, e-training with like dialogue-based, rule-based kind of systems, or really high-touch, in-person, one-on-one sorts of training. But there are also some problems with each of these, right? So maybe they're not very engaging. I don't know if you've found yourself, not this webinar, but other webinars, kind of falling asleep. They can be really time consuming if you're doing in person. Just thinking of traveling in person to go do this training is time consuming. They're not scalable. We can't have one coach for each instructor. And they're potentially harmful if teachers aren't learning well, if they're not actually engaging. This can have harmful downstream effects. So with GPTeach, we were wondering, how can we leverage some of the innovations that are being made in AI to make headway in this space? Introducing GPTeach. So GPTeach has realistic AI simulations, an immersive experience with synthetic students. As you see on this right side panel, there's an office hours chat with 2 synthetic GPT simulated students, and it's scalable and provides interactive sessions. So this works. I'll provide a little demo. So here the instructor in training starts off the session, hi and welcome. The student's typing, and they ask a question. If you'd like to see more for time, I won't go through all of it, but come by the session. They drop their code in the editor. They say, hey, I'm having this problem. Can you help me out? The instructor asks the other student, hey, what's this code doing? Starts having interaction, and stop by the poster. I don't want to take up too much time. We can go. So to conclude, with GPTeach, we're revolutionizing the way that teacher training works, providing high quality, realistic sessions, offering immersive experiences through AI simulated students. Stop by our poster, I won't take up more time. Thank you.
GPbeT is next.
Yes, GPbeT.
Hi everyone, I'm Sina. I'm gonna be talking about GPbeT. So we built a sports betting chatbot that is LLM encoded. Basically, it works on a variety of sports and it can provide suggestions or information about any potential bets that users might be thinking about making. And just to start a little bit about the kind of motivation behind the problem is that this is a growing industry. It's now legal in 38 states compared to just 2 back in 2018. Yeah, estimated around $84 billion as of 2023 and growing very quickly. And it's also a very global industry. I think a lot of people associate sports betting very heavily with the US, which is true. But for example, the UK has a very comparable market size to the US, just oftentimes in different sports. And I think the fact that this is a really new industry also lends itself to a lot of opportunity. And I think generally these sports bettors can be categorized kind of into 2 types. Type 1 is kind of the more serious bettors who are very knowledgeable, do a lot of due diligence themselves, very informed. And that's actually a small minority of these bettors. And the vast majority are betting much more casually. And those are people who there's oftentimes not great resources to get quick or easy information about bets, and it's tough to feel informed in a way. And so that's kind of where we come into play in addressing those people. So this is kind of the general flow of our work. So we get data from a few places, from various sports websites like NBA.com, official websites, also from online forums such as Reddit, to kind of stay current and up to date with a lot of the discourse going around online. And then we also use betting platforms like DraftKings or Prize Picks, which is more accessible in states like California, to scrape data and get live up-to-date odds on a lot of different sports. And then we kind of feed that into the LLM pipeline, fine-tuning the prompt, integrating that with the OpenAI API. And then finally kind of use the front end to kind of create a chatbot experience. So a lot of the kind of work we did was revolved around fine-tuning the prompt, creating kind of a chat history feature so users can kind of go back and forth, similar to ChatGPT. And then also using reinforcement learning to kind of allow users to give feedback to the model about bets and let it kind of further improve based on that. So we have a quick demo here. So we have this input. We can ask like simple question like, will LeBron James score more than 26 points in his next game? And then it'll take a few seconds to respond. And then one thing I kind of want to highlight here is it kind of generates the answer is that it's going to give like a definitive response, which I think kind of is part of the way that we're tailoring to kind of more casual bettors. So it'll give a lot of things about like factors to consider, kind of his recent performances, basically use that to kind of determine whether or not this is a good bet. And then it'll give a definitive answer. So in this case, yes, it kind of gives this caveat, maybe check his injury, make sure he's healthy. And then say we can ask like a quick follow-up, and it'll also give an answer to that using kind of related information. Yeah, and so it gives a similar answer, provides an output based on recent performance, a little more additional context, analysis, things like that. And so that's kind of where the product is at now. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, happy to chat more. Come visit our poster if you guys are interested. Thank you.
Yeah, TransparencyGPT. Those are up.
Thanks. All right. This. Oh. Okay. Oh, that is not. Sorry. Okay. TransparencyGPT, unveiling the truth in an era of misinformation. In today's digital age, misinformation and lack of transparency about online information is akin to a Pandora's box. Once opened, it unleashes a series of societal issues that threaten the fabric of our very democracy. Right? Imagine a scenario where you're scrolling your news feed, questioning articles' credibility, unsure of biases, influences, ownership, conflicts of interest. This uncertainty isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous, eroding truth and fostering divisiveness. TransparencyGPT is our solution that is designed to combat this questioning head-on. By leveraging OpenAI's LLMs, TransparencyGPT is able to offer users unprecedented insights into biases that shape the news that they're reading, peeling back the layers of articles one by one. TransparencyGPT not only educates, it empowers users to adopt a more critical sense of readership. So how do we achieve this? We use smart data scrapers and advanced prompt engineering to highlight content credibility. Users are offered three main forms of search: browsing popular news headlines, examining news sources themselves, or even searching by a specific article by URL or title. Our user experience is unmatched, even offering quick facts about misinformation during our loading screens. And then, of course, offering a comprehensive analysis result coupled with a digestible subjectivity score on a sliding scale. What sets TransparencyGPT apart is that it doesn't only inform, it transforms the interactions we have with online content. Our mission transcends providing a service. It's about fostering a movement towards a more transparent, informed, and critical thinking global community. The demand is there. We have about 62% of news articles is thought to be biased by the American population. And then, of course, we don't have any competitors with big tech giants because we know how much they care about regulating information and misinformation. And then, yeah, exactly. So please come check us out. Thank you so much.
Ms. LabCast.
Right. Right. Yeah. Both of these. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How's it going? So my name is
It's 9 p.m. on a Thursday evening, and I'm still in my classroom preparing to teach grade 7 linear equations. And the reason why I'm there so late in the day is because my students have so many different needs. Of the 28 students, I've got 13 diagnosed learning needs. I've got 5 English language learners and 6 students who are working above grade level. That makes it really, really hard to teach my students. Now, I have a curriculum, you might say. Well, curriculums are really important, but by definition, they actually just cater to the middle third of students. If you're outside that middle third, they don't really work for you. From my own experience in the classroom and talking to loads of teachers in school districts, we've heard that curriculums don't provide enough examples, they don't provide enough practice, they don't provide enough scaffolding, and they don't provide enough challenge. And all of this combines to mean that teachers spend, on average, about 10.5 hours a week planning and preparing their lessons. Now, this is kind of a big problem. And so there's an urgent need right now for tools that can support teachers with curriculum adaptation. Because right now, there's millions of students around the US, but also around the world, who are not receiving the tailored, scaffolded instruction that they need to get on in their lives and their career. And this is all contributing to record lows in terms of test scores, record highs in terms of special educational needs, and shocking levels of math scores, particularly in the US right now.
This brings me to our solution, ScaffGen. So we're taking official curriculums and we are adapting them into human and AI generated scaffolds for teachers. Here's a quick demo of our project. So as you can see, we're working directly with curriculum providers. So this is illustrative mathematics. You pick a lesson that you want scaffolds for, you input it in directly to our website, and those standards are coming directly from the lesson the teacher wants scaffolds for. Once you do this, you get back human-made scaffolds that we're retrieving and AI-generated scaffolds. Each of these, when you click on them, they link to different PDFs that are completely classroom ready. All you have to do is export and use them to teach. So to dive a little bit deeper into what our scaffolds look like, we have multiple features that help teachers pick which ones are most relevant for their classes. Specifically, like we said, they're matched directly to relevant standards. We have short summaries that kind of explain the format of the scaffold as well as what content it'll be teaching. We have tags that kind of indicate what the scaffolds are, like what the pros and cons are, so teachers can most effectively filter through it. And finally, like I said, they're classroom ready. So all you do is just click on the PDF and you export it and use it in your classes. We're efficient, we're high quality, and we're working on being more customizable. This is an example. On the left-hand side is an example of a human-made scaffold, and on the right-hand side is actually something that we spent a long time working on how to prompt and eventually create AI-made scaffolds as well.
So we think that our focus on math and the social component of what we're doing sets us apart from the competition right now. As a team, we've got expertise in teaching. I'm a former teacher. We've got expertise in AI, and we're really excited to continue to tackle this problem. And most excitingly, on traction, so we recently received a seed grant from Stanford CS224G to do some of the fundamental kind of research on making sure the quality of the output is really high. We've also secured 2 design partnerships with 2 school districts who are excited to work on this with us. And we're excited to keep on doing this over the next few months. So yeah, thank you. If you want to learn more, we'll be outside. We'd love to chat. Thank you.
Next up, we got is DocDoc. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so just yeah. Previous team, we can unshare your stop sharing your screen so we can share. Perfect.
Right,
okay.
You.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Derek and I'm with Team DocDoc. And on behalf of my entire team, we are so excited to present DocDoc, a Slackbot code co-pilot. So picture this, you just secured your first internship and it's the first day in the office. You're super excited and you're gonna do great things. Only problem is you've taken a look at the code base. It's legacy code, it hasn't been updated. There are tons of comments, just they don't make sense. And there are lots of code pieces you swear you've seen before, just not written this way. Luckily, you've met your mentor. She's super cool and super supportive. Just one problem. You've also seen her schedule. It's all meetings all day. And you get the feeling that, you really want to leave a good first impression. And asking about the code base first thing in the morning just really doesn't seem like a good idea. And so with your Slack client open, you start typing at DocDoc. What does this code do? So DocDoc is a brand new Slack app, which helps support junior engineers by leveraging Anthropic's Claude 3 Opus LLM. Boasting features such as code commenting, pseudocode generation, code summarization, and even more, it's really easy. All it is just ask a question, attach a code file, press send. From there, DocDoc takes it. DocDoc answers your question based on the code file, just right in the Slack channel. And plus, as a Slack app, DocDoc instantly integrates into your existing Slack workspace, giving you immediate access to an LLM as a senior engineer and mentor. So DocDoc also handles large code files. And with our custom prompts and necessary pre and post processing, we ensure optimal outputs. And our secret sauce is our sliding window algorithm. Using our sliding window, we ensure that every single line in your code file is attended to, preventing attention issues, which are very common with other tools such as ChatGPT and Claude 3. For example, take a look at this. For a code file with 1,100 lines of code, ChatGPT completely fails after the first 50 lines to add comments. This results in only about 5% of the code being commented. While on the other hand, DocDoc adds inline code comments while preserving the original code, resulting in about 95% of the code commented. That's a huge difference. And so DocDoc demonstrates correct answers for code commenting, pseudocode generation, code summarization, test case generation, and code simplification. All tasks where typical prompting fails. And from our point of view, we're a team of junior engineers. We struggled firsthand with trying to understand legacy code bases. We've also seen how valuable a senior engineer's time is, and how meaningful questions, not questions about a code base, can help foster lasting personal relationships, and also even foster new opportunities. So let DocDoc handle your code questions, so you can spend your time doing your best work. And if any of this sounds interesting to you, we have a poster right outside. Come talk to us. Thank you.
All right, can you guys hear me? Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Steven, and I'm introducing Team Chime, the adaptive language learning partner in your pocket. As many of you may have experienced, learning a language is hard. But speaking a language, that's the hardest part. This is May, one of our teammates' moms. She's been learning English for more than 20 years to speak with her kids, but has never been able to do it due to extreme anxiety when speaking English in front of others. When we interviewed her, we learned that she wanted a more adaptive way to practice conversational language, focusing on topics like school and home life, as well as expressing love and care. Her goal isn't to master the entire English language, but to communicate confidently about her children's interests. This need for a niche language learning isn't limited to May. We conducted 15 user interviews with second language learners, and our findings were that 1, people found it difficult to find time to practice. 2, they consistently feared judgment when practicing with human partners. And 3, apps like Duolingo primarily offered structural learning experiences, which often fail to meet the user's real language learning goals. And thus, we introduce to you adaptive language learning. Imagine you're traveling to Mexico and you will be visiting a flea market. and you're nervous about conversing to the locals. So you pull up Chime and go through a scenario of purchasing an item at a flea market. Then you'd be able to get instant feedback and annotations as to what you just said to fix any vocab or grammatical errors. Now you are more confident in your language and your vocabulary starts to grow to meet your real communication needs you have. That's the power of immersive and dynamic language learning. Our app, Chime, is built for people like May who want to grow vocabularies that they will use in everyday life. We use the power of personas to construct immersive experiences that reflect real-world conversations. Our app uses Flutter, deployed to the web, mobile, and watchOS. We built our own API and backend server that ties together our apps. For our AI backend, we use OpenAI's Whisper, as well as multiple GPT-4 models that roleplay as conversational partners and recursively suggest improvements to our users. Our app supports up to 56 languages, but is fine-tuned to 10 in particular. If this sounds interesting to you, please come see our demo right after this. Thank you.
Okay, last team up is SkillSyncer. All right, last but not least.
According to the Harvard Business Review, 80% of hires are mishires. Additionally, 29% of employees actually enjoy their job. With employers spending countless hours interviewing and recruiting candidates, why is it so hard for them to actually hire employees that are suitable for the job and also actually want to be there? Well, the issue lies in the fact that there are just way too many candidates to consider. For example, at the average S&P 500 company, there are on average 50,000 employees. Couple that with the fact that most job postings have hundreds, if not thousands, of applications. It's impossible for recruiters to look through every single candidate and find the best one. We've personally felt this problem as well. As interns and new grads, team matching can often be random. For me personally, at my past 2 internships, team matching was completely random, so I got placed on a team that 1, I didn't care about, and 2, I had to do a project that I had no experience for. So with this problem very relevant in our heads, we decided to do something about it. We built SkillSyncer, an LLM-powered platform where employers can post resumes, post projects, and find the best fit for their projects. Before we go through how this works, I'm going to start with a short demo. Here we have 10 employees posted to our database. We have a mix of political science researchers, policy analysts, ML engineers, and various other roles. We want to find the best fit for a policy chatbot. We want someone to build an AI chatbot that can answer questions about long legal or policy documents. We have here, just from visual glance, a couple of qualified candidates, right? We have a political science researcher, a policy analyst. According to traditional NLP models, these might seem like people qualified for this job, but this job actually requires someone that has an understanding in AI and can build something using ML tools. So we're going to upload this project and we'll see what our model outputs. Takes around 8 to 10 seconds to find the best match. And we've matched Corey Hu. Corey Hu is an ML engineer that's done several ML related jobs in the past. And you can see the best match for this project upon upload. You can see why this person is a good match. And clearly, we didn't pick the policy analyst or the financial analyst. So our model here worked. So how does this work under the hood? First, using embeddings, using OpenAI embeddings, intelligent chunking to extract relevant experiences from resumes, and similarity scores, we are able to shortlist the 5 best employees for a job. Then, after we shortlist these candidates, we use chain of thought and LLM reasoning to actually find the best employee for this project. Along with this, we use data masking. So we prevent our model from accessing any sensitive information that an employee or a company might have. And because of this, we're able to ensure that companies aren't leaking their sensitive data to the model when we run this app. So if any of this interests you, make sure to check us out at the poster session. And we love to continue working on this and include additional features in the future.
Okay. So that's all of our 20 teams that we had in the class. Everyone's gonna get you'll get a chance to talk with everyone outside. They all have posters, but thanks everyone for coming, and let's give a final round of applause to all of the presenters today.